Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz, chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello. Welcome back to the Radio Theatre in London, where we're about to meet our penultimate batch of musical masterminds for 2019. A place in the semi-finals awaits today's winner. And as always, a breadth of musical knowledge will really help them in the most eclectic music contest of them all. Let's meet today's trio.
Hello, I'm Tim Footman. I'm an editor from Croydon in South London.
Hello, I'm Nick Hutchings. I'm a computer programmer from Redhill in Surrey.
Hello, I'm Mark SAUTTER. I'm an accountant from West London.
I hope you have your trigger reflexes warmed up. Valuable points can be won on other people's questions. And it pays to get as high a score as you can in the opening general knowledge round, because the scores will determine how much choice you get of the special topics on offer later in the quiz. Welcome and good luck, everyone. Would you get the ball rolling today, please? Tim Footman, which Academy Award-winning film was adapted for the London stage in 2018 with director Ivo van Hove and music by P.J. Harvey?
Feston?
No, I'm sorry. Can anyone else pick up? Obviously, none of you went to the West End to see All About Eve. Nick Hutchings, your first clip of music is from a recent film soundtrack. The question will come afterwards.
When love just seems so far away, keep hauling, keep hauling. The tide will flood your heart someday. Keep hauling, boys. When you're guiding stars in the cloudy sky, keep hauling, keep hauling. You'll find your way to the bright sunrise. Keep hauling, boys.
Keep Hauling was featured in the 2019 film based on a true story about the rise to fame of a group of Cornish fishermen. They are signed to a major record label and then achieve success with a hit album of sea shanties. Can you tell me the name of the group, which is also the name of the film?
Fisherman's Friends.
That's right, Fisherman's Friends, for 2 points. They are natives of the fishing village of Port Isaac, where they still regularly perform. Mark SAUTTER, going back further into cinema history, the first film to star Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers in 1933, featured a gloriously over-the-top finale with chorus girls dancing and singing on the wings of aeroplanes in flight. What was the name of the movie?
Flying Down to Rio.
That's right, for 2 points. Tim Footman, here's some music featuring Emma Johnson, described recently by The Times as Britain's favorite clarinetist. Since she won the BBC Young Musician of the Year competition, Emma has become one of the UK's biggest-selling classical artists. Here she's playing a song by Rachmaninoff, dating from 1912. I'd like you to tell me its title.
Something like The Nightingale?
No. It is nothing like The Nightingale, I'm afraid. Mark?
Vocalese?
That's right, Vocalese for a spare point. Nick Hutchings, in 1966, when the Cold War was very much on people's minds, BBC executives decided that in the event of a nuclear strike, BBC television would screen a series of programs playing on a loop for 100 days, including a popular Oscar-winning musical from the previous year, 1965. Which film?
Sound Music.
That's right, for 2 points. Mark SAUTTER, a piece of Mozart. I'd like you to tell me the nickname shared by one of Mozart's serenades and the symphony. From the finale of Mozart's Symphony No. 35, known by what name?
Paris?
No, I'm sorry. Does anyone else know? The name we were looking for is Hafner, after the family that commissioned both Symphony 35 and the Serenade, which is, of course, the Hafner Serenade. Tim Footman. Between the Wars, Levi Stubbs' Tears, and Accident Waiting to Happen are the titles of 3 EPs released between 1985 and 1992 by which British songwriter and musician?
Billy Bragg.
That's right, for 2 points. Nick Hutchings. This year sees the 40th anniversary of the release of the jazz-funk album Street Life by the Crusaders. The guest vocalist on the title song went on to have success with such hits as One Day I'll Fly Away and You Might Need Somebody. When we've heard her, can you tell me her name?
Street life, you can run away from time. Street life, for a nickel or a dime. Street life, but you better not get old. Street life, or you're gonna feel the cold. There's always love for sale, a grown-up fairy tale. Prince Charming always smiles behind a silver spoon. And if you keep it young, your song is always on. Your love will pay your way beneath the silver moon. Street life.
That's Randy Crawford.
That is Randy Crawford. And I'll never forget, because at the launch of that album in 1979 at the Orangery in Holland Park, the paparazzi asked Randy Crawford and I to dance to the title tune so they could take some pictures. And we did, and when it was all over, Randy Crawford looked at me and said, "Who are you?" I learned humility at an early age. Mark Sautter, which magazine, first published in June 1981 as a one-off supplement in the Music Weekly Sounds, is devoted to rock and heavy metal music?
Kerrang.
Correct. Kerrang! And rest in peace, Sounds. Tim Footman, your next clip is a comic piece for bassoons by the notorious creator of PDQ Bach, Peter Schickele. When you've heard it, I'd like you to tell me the famous place name that completes its title. It's not Last Tango in Paris, but Last Tango where?
Just pick a random place name anywhere in the world. Brooklyn.
No, it's not Last Tango in Brooklyn, and Mark Sautter thinks he knows what it is.
Bayreuth?
That's right, it's Last Tango in Bayreuth. The clue is in all of the Wagner quotations in the music. You get a bonus point. Nick Hutchings, which concert venue in the West End of London, celebrated especially for its chamber music performances, did the novelist Vikram Seth once describe as the sacred shoebox of chamber music?
Oh, I don't know, Maida Vale?
No, Mark Sautter says?
Wigmore Hall?
And he's correct. Mark Sautter, we end this first round with you and a track from the 2010 album Symphonicities, in which Sting performs a selection of his songs reimagined for symphonic arrangement. When we've heard this version of Englishman in New York, can you tell me which particular eccentric Englishman the song is about?
I don't drink coffee, I take tea, my dear. I like my toast on one side. But you can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. You see me walking down Fifth Avenue. I walk in cane here at my side. I take it everywhere I walk. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Quentin Crisp?
It is about Quentin Crisp, who appears in the black and white music video for the song's original release in 1988. And so the scores at the end of the opening round are: in third place with 2 points, Tim Footman. Lying second with 6 points is Nick Hutchings. And in the lead with 9 points, it's Mark Sautter. As I mentioned earlier, those scores have a bearing on what happens in the individual round. I'm about to give our competitors a list of 5 special musical topics. They'll each pick one on which to answer their own set of questions. They'll choose in the order in which they currently stand on the scoreboard. They have had no prior warning whatsoever of these categories. Are you ready? The special topics for today are Cole Porter, Bach to the Future, operatic duets for 2 sopranos, Precious Things, and a literary anthology. You get the first choice, Mark Sautter. Which will you go for?
Operatic duets.
And for you, Nick Hutchings?
I'll try Precious Things, please.
And that leaves 3 for Tim: Cole Porter, Bach to the Future, and a literary anthology.
I'll take the literary anthology, please.
The contestant currently in third place goes first. That's you, Tim Footman, and you have chosen a literary anthology. In 2015, the Man Booker Prize was won by the writer Marlon James for his novel A Brief History of 7 Killings, a fictional account of the real-life attempted assassination of a well-known musician. Which musician?
Bob Marley.
That's right, for 2 points. I'd like you to listen to this extract from a Lana Del Rey song that was written for Baz Luhrmann's 2013 movie adaptation of a classic 20th century novel. Can you tell me which novel?
I've seen the world, done it all, had my cake now. Diamonds brilliant and summer nights, mid-July, when you and I were forever wild. The crazy days, city lights, the way you'd play with me like a child.
The Great Gatsby.
That is correct. We heard Young and Beautiful from The Great Gatsby. Which of the Rolling Stones' hits was said to have been inspired by the Russian author Mikhail Bulgakov's satire of 1930s Stalinist Moscow, The Master and Margarita?
Sympathy for the Devil.
That's right. For your next extract, here's a piece of music from 2002. Have a listen. I'll ask the question afterwards. That was Movin' Too Fast, featuring the vocals of Romina Johnson. The track's producers and co-performers are a UK garage duo that take their name from which Charles Dickens character?
Artful Dodger.
That is right. First published, somewhat controversially, by Penguin Classics in 2013, which singer's autobiography begins with the words, "My childhood is streets upon streets upon streets upon streets, streets to define you and streets to confine you"?
Could only be Morrissey.
That is right. You're about to hear part of a 1994 song by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Have a listen. I'll ask you the question afterwards.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it ships and cracks. where secrets lie.
That was Red Right Hand, a song whose title is taken from a line in John Milton's epic 17th century poem, Paradise Lost. Red Right Hand became the theme song for which BBC TV series?
Peaky Blinders.
You are right. And finally in this round, which 1957 musical film comedy starring Fred Astaire and Audrey Hepburn features scenes set in a New York bookshop called Embryonic Concepts?
My parents would kill me if I didn't get this. Funny Face.
That is correct. You had a smiling face, as you said, funny face. And Tim Footman, you have scored a perfect round. Your 14 points added to your previous 2 points now give you 16 points. Nick Hutchins, here come your precious things. Which gemstone provides the title of a 2007 UK #1 hit by the Kaiser Chiefs?
Ruby.
That's right. The extract you're about to hear is from a song called Precious, which, as part of a AA side, was a #1 hit in the UK in 1982. Have a listen and then simply tell me the name of the band.
By the Jam.
That was by the Jam. It was on the flip side of A Town Called Malice. It provided one of the few occasions when a group was allowed to perform both sides of a AA side on the same edition of Top of the Pops. A song entitled Pearl appeared on Stevie Wonder's 11th studio album, which was released 50 years ago in August 1969. The album contained a couple of Wonder's biggest hits, including Yester Me, Yester You, Yesterday, and the title track, which was itself a top 5 hit in both Britain and America. What is the name of this album?
Is it Signed, Sealed, Delivered?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's 1969, which means My Cherie Amour. The 7th film in the James Bond series, 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, saw Sean Connery in his last official outing as 007. The title track was, of course, originally recorded by Shirley Bassey. But I'd like you to listen to this cover version by an artist better known for R&B hits such as I Feel For You and I'm Every Woman. Who is she?
Diamonds are forever. Hold one up and then caress it. Touch it, stroke it, and undress it. I can see every part, nothing hides in the heart to hurt me. I don't need love, for what good will love do me? Diamonds never lie to me.
It's Shaka Khan.
That is Shaka Khan. And here are more diamonds. One of the most memorable moments in the 1953 film Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is that of a satin-clad Marilyn Monroe performing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. In the song's third verse, Monroe references several famous jewelers. Can you name any 2 of them?
We'll have a guess. Cartier.
Yes?
Tiffany?
Yes, that's 2 points. First performed in 1967, George Balanchine's abstract 3-act ballet Jules was inspired by the New York store of Van Cleef and Arpels. Each act takes a different gem as its impetus and uses a different composer for its score. Have a listen to this extract from the second act, Rubies, then name the composer.
can only guess the way it's going on the piano, I'd say Chopin.
I'm sorry, it's not. It was Stravinsky. We heard the Capriccio for piano and orchestra. Finally in this round, the music for the acclaimed 1984 TV series Jewel in the Crown was by a British composer whose many film and TV credits also include Blue Planet, The Madness of King George, and Gandhi. Can you tell me his name?
I'll go for Malcolm Arnold.
I'm sorry, it was George Fenton.
Oh.
And so, in that round, you scored 8 points. Added to your previous 6, you now have 14 points. It's a close one, and it's going to get closer. Here comes Mark Sautter with operatic duets for 2 sopranos. First performed in 1689, which opera by Purcell features the duet, Whence Could So Much Virtue Spring?
Dido and Aeneas?
Yes, for 2 points. Here's a duet for soprano and mezzo-soprano from the second act of a popular Puccini opera. For 2 points, I'd like you to tell me the names of the characters performing here.
Madame Butterfly and Suzuki? Cho-Cho-san?
Cho-Cho-san is correct, and Suzuki, that's right. From Madame Butterfly, you get 2 points. An opera first performed in Paris in 1883 also features a celebrated flower duet. It takes place between the daughter of a Brahmin priest and her servant Malika, gathering flowers by a river. Can you name that opera and composer?
Dilip Lakme.
Yes, for 2 points. More music. Here's Abends will ich schlafen gehen, or The Evening Prayer, from Humperdinck's Hansel und Gretel. A question will follow. That work is based on the Grimm brothers' fairy tale concerning a brother and sister kidnapped by a witch. Traditionally, Gretel is the soprano role, with Hansel performed by mezzo-soprano. For 2 points, can you tell me which family member of Humperdinck's wrote the German libretto for the opera?
His father?
I'm sorry, it was his sister, Adelheid Vedder. She also proposed the idea to her brother that he should compose the opera. Richard Strauss composed Der Rosenkavalier, a comic opera in 3 acts which contains several female duets with all the main roles written for women. In the very first scene, where do we find Princess Marie and her lover, Count Octavian Raffrano?
In bed.
Correct. Your next music clip is a duet from one of Mozart's early operas set in 63 BC during the conflict between Rome and the Kingdom of Pontus on the Black Sea. Once we've heard Se viver non degio from Act 2, I'd simply like you to name the opera. Can you name the opera?
Mitridate Re di Ponto?
Yes! Mozart composed it when he was 14. It probably was what he did on his summer holidays. Your final question in this round. Which composer's duets for 2 sopranos, Opus 63, include Gruß, or Greeting, Herbstlied, or Spring Song, and Volkslied, or Folk Song?
Wolf?
No, I'm afraid it's Mendelssohn. And so, Mark Sautter, in that round, you scored 10 points, added to your previous 9. You now have 19 points. And so, the scores after the individual round now stand at third with 14 points, Nick Hutchings. Second with 16 points is Tim Footman. And our leader with just one round to go with 19 points is Mark Sautter. It's so close, anyone could win. It's on the button in the quickfire final round, and things can change quickly. A correct answer wins you 1 point, but you lose a point if you flash in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. Fingers poised. Here we go. Human Racing was the 1980... And Nick Hutchings says...
Nick Kershaw.
That's right. In musical settings of the Mass, what is the literal meaning of Kyrie eleison? And Tim Footman says...
Lord have mercy.
Yes. Which musical features the songs Fat Sam's Grand Slam? And Tim says?
Bugsy Malone.
He's right. The last movement of which Beethoven symphony was once likened by Sir Thomas Beecham to a lot of yaks jumping about. And Tim says?
Ninth.
No, it's 7 minus 1. Geddy Lee is best known as the... Mark Sautter.
Rush.
Yes, okay, fine. He's the lead singer, in case you're wondering. Which American composer was conductor of the Boston Pops between 1980 and, Nick says?
Oh, not going to say Leroy Anderson, but it's not.
No, it's John Williams. Minus 1. Which Ken Russell film starred Richard Chamberlain as Tchaikovsky? Tim Footman?
Music Lovers.
Yes. What's the name of the weekly program on Radio 3, presented by Donald MacLeod, which explores the life and works of a particular composer? Mark.
Composer of the Week.
You got it. Which opera by Verdi features the sleepwalking scene and the chorus? And Mark says?
Macbeth.
2 in a row. In which Supertramp song are we invited to take a look at my girl? Nick says?
Breakfast in America.
Yes. Which cocktail containing vodka and tomato juice shares its... Tim Footman.
Bloody Mary.
You're right. Which symphony was Gustav Mahler's final completed? And Mark says?
9th.
Yes. At the end of Alban Berg's opera, who kills Lulu? Tim Footman.
Jack the Ripper.
Yes. In which 1939 film musical would you hear the words, "We represent the lollipop"? Tim?
Wizard of Oz.
Yes. And finally, which of the funk bands formed by George Clinton shares its name with the legislative... And Tim Footman says...
Parliament.
That is correct. And let me tell you, George Clinton has never been prorogued. At the end of today's heat of Counterpoint, the final scores are third with 15 points, Nick Hutchings. Runner-up with 22 points is Tim Footman, and our winner with 23 points is Mark Sautter, as close as could be. Congratulations to Mark Sautter, who takes another of the places in the Counterpoint 2019 semifinals, which begin in a fortnight's time. Thank you, and well done, the other two, for giving us a thrilling contest. Join us next week in Salford, where we'll find out who'll take the last remaining place in the semifinals. Until then, thank you for listening. Goodbye.